This is lesson 3 of our unit on rhetoric, and in this lesson we're going to be looking at analyzing a rhetorical appeal. We're going to start by looking at some of the key terms that we've looked at in lessons 1 and 2. Then we'll go into an example of rhetoric, look at how to analyze, and then provide a framework for writing your analysis in a paragraph. So, just to recap, as we saw in lesson 1, rhetoric is the art of persuasion, trying to convince someone about something. The speaker is the person who is making the rhetoric, and the audience is the person or people who the rhetoric is directed towards. And then we think of purpose, which is what is the speaker trying to get the audience to think, to feel, to believe, or to do. And the methods that speakers use are what's called rhetorical strategies. And there are 3. The first one is called ethos, and that's the appeal to character or credibility. We have pathos, which is using an emotional appeal to persuade someone. And then lastly, we have logos, which is using reason, arguments, facts, statistics. Let's look at an example of a piece of rhetoric. Okay, so that's from an ad that came out a few years ago. And when we're doing a piece of rhetorical analysis, what we're trying to do in one paragraph is to do the following: identify the purpose. What is this rhetoric trying to persuade people? The speaker, the audience, the rhetorical strategy that's being used, ethos, pathos, or logos, or sometimes it may be more than one of those rhetorical strategies. And then analyzing how the rhetorical strategy is advancing this piece of rhetoric with specific evidence from the text or from the video, whatever. So in the video we just looked at, we can identify the speaker is the Naval Safety Center. They're the people who made this ad, and it says that at the end. The audience are drivers and passengers, because the purpose of this piece of rhetoric is to persuade people to wear seatbelts. And then the rhetorical strategy that this ad is using is pathos. When we think about evidence, what we're really using in an ad is describing what's happening. There's no real things to quote here because there's no spoken language. And our analysis is trying to think about, why is this an example of pathos? So this is what it all should look like in a paragraph. In the seatbelt ad, that's just a little bit of context about what this piece of rhetoric is. The Naval Safety Center, that's the speaker, attempts to persuade drivers and passengers, that's the audience, to wear seatbelts in order to save their own lives. That's the purpose. So I've got speaker, audience, and purpose all in one sentence. The ad uses pathos to advance the persuasive appeal, that's the rhetorical strategy, because it uses heartbreaking imagery to show the potential consequences of not wearing a seatbelt. There's my analysis or explanation. And then we go into the evidence. For example, the ad immediately opens with the horrific image and sound of a car crash, then shows a car with passengers and a driver whose souls are leaving their dead bodies. However, one passenger survives due to his wearing a seatbelt. The ad shows him hyperventilating, which means like breathing a lot, as he realizes he is still alive. The ad closes its emotional appeal as he clutches his seatbelt while haunting music plays and the ad ends. So that's the kind of analysis we're looking at. You want to start in the first sentence. What kind of ad is this? Then say who the speaker is, the audience, very briefly what the purpose of the ad is. Then just identify the rhetorical strategy used, and then say why it's an example of that rhetorical strategy. If it's pathos, what emotions is it creating in us? If it's ethos, who is being used? Is it celebrity or is it someone we can trust in some way? If it's logos, what facts, statistics, argument is it presenting? And then lastly, the last part of your paragraph, which is kind of a combination, I guess, of evidence and analysis, is what do we see in the text? What do we see in the video? What can we pull out of this that supports our analysis? And that is a paragraph of rhetorical analysis. And when you write yours, I want it to look pretty much exactly like that.